Hello and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow Season 10. It's been 10 seasons of identifying and celebrating small businesses such as yourself. I'm Sunanda Jayasseelan, and speaking of success stories and small businesses, tonight on the show joining us is someone who is an example of what it takes to be an entrepreneur and is a success story and celebrating really entrepreneurship here in the country. Dinesh Agarwal, founder CEO of IndiaMART, joining me on the show tonight. I also have someone who is very closely associated with the startup ecosystem, Dhruv Nath. He's a well-known author. He also mentors startups. Both of these gentlemen joining me to talk about the current state of startups and the startup ecosystem in the country, their view on valuations, and also what they feel are going to be some of the things that are key changers and drivers for this ecosystem. Investors determine to some extent your profitability and how fast you're growing, but also competition. And for a small business which says there's so much competition, how you, and I would love to get both your perspectives on this, how are you really viewing competition? How do you approach it?
From IndiaMART perspective? Yes. See, at IndiaMART, I think we have achieved quite a size and scalability, quite a good network effect in terms of buyer and suppliers being available there, and quite a bit community effect. Now, if you look at B2B or if you look at SME as a segment, it's only one small problem that IndiaMART is able to solve. And it has a multiple industries, multiple geographies, multiple processes and multiple products where there are multiple problems to be solved. And I would have seen traditionally when more people come into such business, television, there used to be Doordarshan and there used to be a Z and then there used to be a Star, and now there are 500 channels. I think it has done great for everybody. It has expanded the market. Now the variety is available for every kind of shows are available for every kind of generation. This is available. The same should be available. No single company can do everything. Whether it was Doordarshan or whether it is any particular channel. So I guess more player coming into this is a proof that this particular model makes sense, and there is a lot can be done there. When hundreds of the people join in, a lot of capital and talent pours in. Out of that, maybe 80% would not succeed, but those 20% who would succeed, they will create a great wealth, and it will be good for all the 20 participants.
Sure. What do you advise the companies that you mentor?
Okay. So this is a message to all young founders who are watching. I think there are 2-3 things that they need to keep in mind. Identify a niche which is not crowded, where you don't have giant competitors. Right? Identify a niche, grow within that niche, scale up as much as you can. So never get into a space where you're competing with massive guys, right? These are mammoths.
Fantastic advice. Fantastic advice. Okay, we have limited time on the show. I do know both of you have a hard stop, so we have got some viewer queries coming in, and at this point, would love to be able to bring that up. A lot of our viewers and young entrepreneurs sending us some questions. The first one is coming to us from Priyanka Goel. She's co-founder at GoGrub. Go ahead, Priyanka.
Since the market now is so populated with so many health food snack startups, if you could share your advice on how should we position ourselves so that our differentiation really comes through, which would eventually help us to establish ourselves as market leaders.
Thank you for that question, Priyanka. You were just talking about that, Dhruv, so I want to come to you first, about finding that niche and finding that differentiation.
The issue here is, again, let me get back to the book. One of the things we have been mentioning in that book is that the size of the market must be huge, must be large, because otherwise you come to a certain stage and then you stagnate, which doesn't make sense, right? Fortunately, awareness of healthy eating has become a very, very major issue today. The awareness is very much there. So the market is huge. Equally fortunately, there is no massive competitor, right? But like Priyanka, like GoGrub, there are lots of smaller players, right? And they are all competing with each other. To my mind, as an investor, normally what I would do is, or any investor would do is, if there are tens or hundreds of such players, we may not invest in them too early. What we will typically do is, we will wait and watch to see which of them start gaining market share, right? And therefore, we will wait for some time, look at who the market leaders are or who the potential market leaders are, and then invest in them.
Okay.
And my advice to Priyanka and other similar companies is, in this kind of space, health food is something which you will typically listen to advice from somebody you trust.
Okay.
And therefore, influencer-based marketing, to my mind, is probably the best way to grow your brand.
Sure.
Because when somebody who is publicly known for health foods and so on, when he or she talks about this product, many people are likely to take it up. So I would suggest, at this stage, funding is not very easy. But if you were to use influencer-based marketing and referrals again, my guess is at some stage, certainly funding is possible.
Okay. Do you want to add to that?
I think today launching a product has become much easier than in the past, because you could do that. So by going on to the marketplaces, there are so many marketplaces, whether IndiaMART, whether Amazon, whether Flipkart, and many other. You can test out your product and response. Earlier, you need to be at least a certain level of brand to be able to go into modern trade or to be able to go into general trade distribution. So I think today, and obviously now everybody is cautious about health food. So I think it's a great business to be in, but go step by step and see where it goes. Don't have to be so particular about funding and what is the end game. As people say, entrepreneurship is do what you love, and when you do what you love, you'll figure out what you want to achieve.
Sure, fantastic. Priyanka, trust that answers your question. Our second question is coming to us from Ruchir Raj Singh. Go ahead, Ruchir.
We keep hearing that most of these service-oriented companies get funding very easily. We, being a product hardware startup, find it difficult to get initial access to the funding. So we need your insights regarding that, please. Thank you so much.
It sounds like a fantastic technology. To both of you gentlemen, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's a great idea, Ruchir. If you look at funding, it is not manufacturing that is the problem. It is scalability, right? Typical manufacturing requires a reasonable amount of capital investment, maybe in some cases a large amount of capital investment to set up your plant, right? And if you want to scale rapidly, which means maybe 200% a year or whatever, or even 50% a year, which is what the investor typically wants. And I'm talking of angel investors and VCs, not publicly, not people on the stock market. So if you want to scale, you will need to keep pumping in that kind of capital, right? That is something which investors are not keen on, right? So the problem is not manufacturing, the problem is scalability. Even 30, 40, 50% a year, you don't need capital investment. It is your partner who needs capital investment, right? And that maybe he has anyway, or he'll take a loan from the bank or whatever. You focus on building the brand, you focus on the product, you focus on distribution, marketing, support. You are very highly scalable because you do not need large amount of capital. Very highly investable.
Sure.
So my suggestion to people who are into manufacturing is just look at this whole issue of scalability. Provided you're scalable, which means you can grow rapidly, investors will come running.
Sure.
And it's a unique idea.
Okay. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, so I think yes and no. Last 10-15 years, tech and lean investments have been the flavor of the season. But now, many angels, many VCs, many private equity firms, they are looking at more integrated solution, hardware, manufacturing, solutioning. So I think if you're solution is good enough, efficient enough, and can show a path to scale and path to profitability, I don't think it is a problem.
Sure.
You just
Sure.
keep trying, keep telling your story to multiple set of people. Multiple set of people will give you multiple set of advices. Don't take all of them.
Okay. But how do you know which ones to listen to? and
Yeah,
which one
that an entrepreneur knows
Okay.
because he has been. It's his baby,
Yeah.
so he knows which question is right for me
Okay.
and which question is not. Which
Okay.
advice is right for me and which advice is not.
Sure.
And I think you will figure out that who is the right investor for you.
See,
Fantastic.
the important issue here, Sunanda, is that the founder, the entrepreneur, is the guy who's running the business. You will get advice from all over. Right? I mean, there's no shortage of mentors. You have to decide what
It's
you
like
want
a new mum. You'll get advice from everyone. You have to
Absolutely. It's
figure
your
which
baby.
ones to
It's
use.
your
Yeah.
baby. Absolutely.
I'll have to take a quick commercial break on that note. For those of you watching at home, don't go anywhere. We're back in just a moment. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. And tonight, a very exclusive conversation with someone who needs no introduction. He's a very well-known entrepreneur, the founder and CEO of IndiaMART. I also have well-known author and mentor, Dhruv Nath. Very quickly, in the interest of time, last two questions that we can take in. Neelay Jain, co-founder of mycuteoffice.com. Go ahead, Neelay.
My question to Mr. Dinesh Agarwal is, so many startups scale prematurely, they burn money and then they have to scale down for survival. So at what instance did IndiaMART decide that they have reached the PMF and they have the right business model and this is the time to scale up the business? Thanks.
Yeah, I think it's a very important question in the life of a founder or an entrepreneur. When do you feel that there is a good enough product market fit, and then you should go all out and start to do only and only scaling? I think one of the first criterias that I use, whether you have found the product market fit, is whether you are able to get money from the customers. If there are customers who are willing to give you money for your service or product, whatever you are, and if there are hundreds of them, that is the first proof that you have found some kind of a product market fit. The second product market fit is when you see that you have started to grow, say 10% month on month, 10% week on week, or that kind of a hyper adoption. When you see that my adoption is growing quickly, now it comes that how do I scale in terms of more cities, in terms of more manpower, so that I can do more sales, and that is when you look for growth equity funding. So there are, and that is why I keep saying this, that funding at different times, the requirement for funding, the amount of funding should be limited. Okay. So for example, when you are doing early stages, and that is how you do angel investment, which are small size investments, or VC investment, seed investment, which are small size investment. And then when you found the product market fit, when you are going out for growth, then there are VC or private equity.
Sure.
And then when you have found the unit economics right, then you probably get the big ones. So I think there are well-defined steps for each one of them. You may go wrong on any of them, but then when you try, you may go wrong sometimes. But these are some of the known indicators that I have found a good product market fit. I have found customers money. My product is growing rapidly, 10% month on month. That is the time when you want to scale it up.
Sure. Sure. One last question then. Pooja Khemka, CEO and co-founder of Track Now Private Limited. Go ahead, Pooja.
With due respect and in support of women founders, I wanted to understand what is an investor's viewpoint for women founders? Is there a bias against women founders?
Do you want to take this first?
Yeah, sure. I think it's a great question. And I have seen, as an investor who has been involved for, I would imagine, more than a decade now, I have seen a major change, a major shift taking place, right? And I'll explain why. Yes, when we used to come into meetings, where founders would pitch their product, let's say 10, 12 years ago. If it was a woman founder, we would typically have this question, look, will she be able to manage family and this startup together? Will she be able to spend 23 hours a day because she has to sleep for 1 hour? And those questions used to come up. What has happened in the last 10, 12, 15 years is two things. Number one, a lot of angel investors and even VCs have lost money, right? And because they've lost money, they've become more careful and they have started investing at a slightly later stage when it is not just the idea or the product or the founder, but it is the proof of the business. Like Dinesh said, product market fit, meaning have you got sufficient revenues? Are you getting an increasing number of customers month on month, therefore increasing revenue month on month, quarter on quarter? So that's one thing which has happened. The second thing which has happened is that founders or startups have really exploded. I mean, the government figures, I think, talk about something like 60, 70,000 registered startups, but my guess is it's probably far more. It's somewhere in a few lakhs. Angel investors have not kept pace. You have about maybe 30, 40, at the most 50,000 angel investors in the country today. Therefore, the quantum of choice that is available to the angel investor has suddenly expanded. And therefore, for these two reasons, what has happened is angel investors typically invest at a slightly later stage because they have so much choice, right? Now, when you're investing at a later stage, you're looking for proof. And once you've seen revenues and growth month on month, frankly, it doesn't matter whether the founder is a woman or a man, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
You've shown proof.
Sure.
So today, because of these two reasons, today at Lead Angels, for instance, we get maybe 150 or 200 requests for investment every month. It doesn't matter. 10 years ago, it did matter, but today it doesn't matter.
Sure.
So yes, the environment has changed and I think that's a great thing.
Okay. Have you seen things changing for the better?
I think there is now, in fact, a positive bias. People look forward to women entrepreneurs. So I think this is a great time. Things have changed dramatically. A lot of women have proven, and there was never a doubt, have proven to be a prime minister, proven to be an astronaut, proven to be a. So I don't think there was ever a doubt. It's just that now people are especially looking forward to women in business, women in government services, women in politics, everywhere. I think there is a much more welcome environment today, and which is good.
Okay, then let me take one last question before I let both of you go. One piece of advice that you want to leave with our entrepreneurs who are watching today's interview, and for you as well, Dhruv, based on your personal experience, what would you like for them to know?
So, as the name of your show says, it's the leaders of tomorrow, and most of these entrepreneurs will become leaders of tomorrow.
Yeah.
And here, tomorrow does not literally mean tomorrow. Tomorrow probably means a lot more longer futurish.
Yeah.
And that's the advice to everybody, that please think long term.
Okay.
Please think that long term tomorrow you can become leader, you will become leader, you have everything in you. Just don't keep doubting yourself that ho nahi raha hai, is this right, should I quit? So if you keep doubting yourself, how would that happen?
Sure.
If you are committed to something, keep trying, and if you keep trying 5 times, one time you will get lucky, because God can't be So, that he doesn't give you even
Unfair.
20% luck. So everybody is
Sure.
born with 20% luck.
Sure. Sure. Dhruv?
So I agree with him.
Yeah.
The one thing I'd like to mention, which by the way is something Dinesh always talks about, is passion. Everything follows from passion. If all you want to do as an entrepreneur, as a founder, is to make money and to get funding and to brag about the fact that you got $1 million or $2 million valuation, you will fail. If you're passionate about what you're trying to do, whether it is even a simple thing like providing healthy, clean, hygienic meat to, to all the vegetarians out there, even something like this. If you're passionate about it, you will have problems along the way, but you will overcome them. You will not give up. COVID happened, a lot of people were in trouble, right? But those who were passionate figured out ways, pivoted their business model to survive, and some actually grew in that period. So, if you have passion, if you're passionate about what you're trying to do, everything follows. So I think that's the key thing.
Fantastic. Gentlemen, I'm so happy that we could manage to squeeze out this little bit of time in both of your calendars, and both of you are very busy, but thank you so much for giving us the time and speaking with us here and speaking straight from the heart. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.